Hello out there, it's us again, the guys from Old Skool Movements. My name's Daz, I'm Mr. Lucas.
I'm Chris.
I'm Stacks.
And it's good to be talking to you guys again. Last podcast was Things You Don't See Anymore, Part 1 and 2. But there's so much to talk about.
There's still more to go.
Break these things out. Yeah, it could be another one.
I think we got another one of them.
But there's so many more things we didn't mention, you know. We can go on a bit there. But today's episode, again, it's keeping with the old school theme. Things we used to like, things we didn't like, but as long as it's old school, we're going to talk about it. And so this episode, we're going to go through, you know, the times where, you know, the video shops are around, you're going to the movies, the pictures. What do you call it? Picture cinema?
Cinemas, what's cinema?
When you was younger, cinema. Go see a
Cinema,
movie.
Go see a movie? Yeah.
Go see a film.
Go see a film.
Go see a film.
You never went pictures?
No.
Nah.
Always, no. Cinema. Cinema for me, definitely.
Cinema. Yeah.
Or the flicks. No, it was cinema.
Flicks.
Yeah. The flicks.
The
picture house.
Picture house, the old picture house. But back in those days, you know, there was such anticipation and excitement for a movie to come out.
They were hyped up, weren't they?
Hyped up big time, movie posters, links with food products and toys and a soundtrack. And you was excited whether it's a sequel or your favourite actor was going to be in it or a new actor that you've seen on the scene is going to be in it. You was always excited, but they didn't always work out how...
No, they didn't live up.
Didn't live up to the expectations. So today's episode is corny 80's movies, man. So, but there's so many. There are a lot of corny ones in the 80s. But again, we're talking about the ones that we were excited to see. You know, we were hyped up. You know, the promotion was there, and it just didn't work out for the film and for the viewer. Or in our cases, anyway.
You know. What can make a film corny? Is it the budget that they had, or the storyline, or the lack of special effects, or? I think for me, it's more. I don't know, the storylines in the screenplay. It doesn't matter if it weren't big budget or the special effects weren't there, but if the screenplay ain't right and the story ain't right, you know, that's what's going to let it down, really. Yeah. It's true. Or like, but yeah. It's because back in those days, like, it was all about the story, wasn't it? And the whole, you know, special effects we didn't have CGI.
We didn't really have
so we had that stop motion.
Stop motion or a bit of blue screen or green screen, I think it was back in the day.
Yeah, but not to the level we have now. So whatever kind of special effects we got then, we just took it in. But if some were too bait, it's like, nah, that ain't working.
Remember like the old ones, like I think the old Japanese ones where they'd use reptiles and then make them look huge, like a dinosaur,
Even like the old Godzilla B movies. I used to
love
love
Journey
them,
to
man.
the centre of the world, or whatever. They'd have a crab, but it'd be like a monster crab. I used to love that. You did these that special effects work.
Just make the scenery small. And
real life people small. Yeah,
lizard and make it look like a dinosaur. It's true. But that's probably why I didn't like them films. But it's just, did you like them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were quite good.
Man.
Yeah, I used to like them, man. I used to like them films. Journey to the Centre of the Earth.
I liked back in the day when they mixed like the what's his name, Harry Harryhausen, the guy that made the stop motion. You know, he made stuff like the Sinbad films and stop motion characters, or like Jason the Argonauts with the skeletons.
I
watched that the other day.
And then more recently, Clash of the Titans. Yeah,
like last month I watched that, Jason and the Argonauts.
The Golden Fleece one.
That was state of the art. That stop motion was like, because when I saw that in Clash of the Titans, I think that worked. You know, seeing Medusa and all that. That stop motion.
What film was it that had the fighting skeletons that you're saying?
That's Jason the Argonauts.
That scene was wicked.
Yeah.
When I remember when I saw that, I was like, how did they do that?
Yeah, that looked real. That was the top of the range effects in those days. But they even used it. If you noticed in like Terminator. When the Terminator 1, when the Terminator is the skeleton,
it's the same thing.
It's that stop motion. It's that.
It works good. It works good.
That's how it went. Good. But let's get into our 10 corniest movies of the 80s, and you know, we were talking about the hype of it and hyping up a movie. You know, there's no better way to start than a movie that it had the toys, you went mad for the toys, it had the cartoon, went mad for the cartoon. So all it could be now is just make a movie of it, and it's complete. How can this go wrong? The toys worked, the cartoon worked,
the film normally,
the lunchboxes worked, the bed sheets worked. Yeah. How is this not working? Ladies and gentlemen, Masters of the Universe. Man. This was such a letdown. There was so much to look forward to in it. As I said, the toys worked.
If you're basing it on a cartoon,
cartoon worked.
You know, yeah.
Dolph Lundgren was in it.
The Russian dude from Rocky 4 was playing He-Man.
It's like, that's perfect. Do you know what I mean? It sounded like it was going to work. It sounded like it was going to work.
All the elements were there.
All the elements were there, but it's.
I'm sure when it's set on our planet as well.
Yeah.
That's another thing I thought. It's set on our planet in the time that we were watching it.
Yeah.
Like in the 80s.
Yeah.
Let's say He-Man. Where's Eternia?
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing Eternia.
Where's Grayskull?
I'm looking forward to see Battle Cat.
The effects just weren't there.
But apparently it's because they didn't have a budget, and that's why they brought it to Earth. That's why they filmed it in California.
They didn't have the sets.
But they didn't have the sets. Yeah. So I spent half the money on Dolph Lundgren to be He-Man.
So what I heard is Canon made it, didn't they? Canon Films. What I heard was originally they wanted to make a super Spider-Man film.
A super Spider-Man? Spider-Man with a cape?
No, not. I mean like a great Spider-Man film.
Oh, okay.
The world needed a Spider-Man film at the time, and they wanted to make this great super Spider-Man film.
Amazing Spider-Man film.
Like an amazing Spider-Man film. Yeah. But they opted, the money they had to use to make this great film, they opted to split it, to make two films, and to make a better Spider-Man, use the budget or the money that these two films made to make an even better Spider-Man film. Them two films were Superman 4 and Masters of the Universe. And that the idea was to take the profits of both of them, but both of them were flopped, but huge flops.
We'll get to Superman.
So they had no money left to make this Spider-Man film, which they tried doing. So because they both bombed at the box office.
Yeah, but that film was too budget, man.
It was too budget.
Like you destroyed like a whole franchise in one film. Yeah. It's like the only thing genuine about it was the font of seeing the word Masters of the Universe. It's the only thing that looked He-Man-ish to me. Like even Dolph Lundgren being He-Man, it looked like he was in a rock band. It looked like he was in a heavy metal band in the 80s, and all them soft rock bands. It just didn't. It just didn't work, and nothing was recognisable. I'd say no Battle Cat.
Yeah,
what were those things that they used to ride on in the sky? When they take off, they look like they're Sabutio men.
Yeah.
They were odd.
What was all that about? Yeah.
I think
it was weird.
They originally thought that it was going to be such a success. I think they started work on a next one, on a sequel to it as well.
That's just.
And they spent millions on making a better set and better costumes, but because the first one was such a flop, they couldn't get onto this sequel, so they ended up using all of this leftover stuff that they had to make the film Cyborg. I think is that John Van Damme film. So all of the costumes from Cyborg was originally going to be for the sequel to Masters of the Universe.
That's mad.
To recoup the loss and the money, they sold all the costumes, and that turned into Cyborg. They recycled all of the costumes, all of the props.
That's mad.
That were meant to be
because
that went on to have two sequels of its own.
Yeah. That probably done
better than what Masters of the Universe did.
Yeah, there was nothing He-Man-y about it, and it had some little furry man called Gwildor.
What the hell?
It was
meant to be like the Orko character.
Yeah, it was.
Rubbish.
It was really bad.
Do you remember Courtney Cox was in it as well? It was one of her first. I think it was her first major movie. Big screen.
It was so bad, man. It was a proper letdown. I was so looking forward to it.
There's another connection to Courtney Cox, the sorceress. Remember the sorceress in it?
Yeah.
She plays Courtney Cox's mum in Friends.
Oh, really?
Estimated 22 million to make, and a gross worldwide taking of 17. So proper flop.
That's a bad. It was seriously. It was nothing. No He-Man. No music. No Stratos.
I have the power.
No Ram Man. I cannot have Ram Man and Stratos and Battle Cat.
It was just Man at Arms.
No Merman. Man at Arms. That's some
Skeletor.
Furry dude and said, "Oh, that's Beast Man."
No trap.
No trap. Come on, man.
I think these were all planned actually for, if I remember, for the sequel, which they thought it's going to be a hit. We'll get the sequel ready, and that was going to introduce like Beastman, Trapjaw.
No, it's too late.
Didn't even get to that stage.
It's too late, man.
But there's talks of new ones coming in. No,
there is.
Recent news that Netflix could be picking something up. Sony doing it. So
doing a He-Man.
Let's hope they don't.
Yeah. Well, with CGI and stuff now, it could work itself out. But I don't want to hear the Old Skool stuff.
No.
Forget that.
I want to hear some by the power of grace
and a gun.
Yeah.
He had I swear he's like Old Skool and shooting people with a gun and sword.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Ridiculous.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
So what you got, man? What's corny?
I'm going to mention another corny one, which I love. The original was Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf 2. Teen Wolf 2 was terrible.
Teen Wolf 2 was terrible.
Michael J. Fox wasn't even in it.
Yeah, it was Jason Bateman.
Jason Bateman, yeah.
I don't think I saw it.
It was
Jason,
weak.
he was meant to be the cousin, wasn't he? The cousin of
Scott.
Of Scott, yeah.
Scott, I can't remember his name.
Todd, his name was.
And he was boxing this time. You know, like Teen Wolf was a basketball sensation. This was like college boxing or something.
And they used the guy from Teen Wolf 1, the guy Chubby, the fat character. He was in the boxing sparring through with him or something, wasn't he?
Yeah.
There was only him and Scott. Was it Scott was the original one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Him and Scott's dad. Chubby and Scott's dad were the only two that went across into Teen Wolf 2. Yeah.
It's so corny. Like a lot of the films we're going to mention is like they're so corny. They're not even in libraries. You can't even find them. They try to discuss. Like Jason Bateman probably doesn't even want it on his channel of films. It's like you never hear or see of it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Teen Wolf 2. Teen Wolf just got over the bar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's a very cult. It's a cult film. Some people think it's a stupid idea.
It's a werewolf movie.
Yeah, just a hairy monkey or Chewbacca's younger brother playing basketball.
I think that was what I heard. One of the main reasons that Michael J. Fox didn't want to come back was because the amount of makeup to get into that wolf look. It was too much for him to go through again. He refused to do a sequel. Just didn't want to go through having to change into the wolf again and going into makeup.
But so to make look. It was kind of like a no-brainer. So because back in them days, still like now, whenever a film's mildly successful, you go and make a sequel. But that was a bad decision, man.
Well, when Teen Wolf 2 was being made, that's when Michael J. Fox was on the TV show. What was that TV show he'd done? Family Ties, which I think it's his older sister or the sister on that was Jason Bateman's sister.
Right.
So he was working with his sister while his.
So there was family ties for real.
Yeah, it's family sort of within them two movies, family ties for real. And there was talk of a third, which it was pretty much ready to go, and they were going to use Jenny from Matrix. You know, Jenny from Matrix, the girl who gets kidnapped from
Commando. You mean?
Is that
you said Matrix?
Yeah. Sorry, Jenny Matrix.
Yeah.
Jenny Matrix from Commando.
Jenny...
Cut that bit. We did that bit. Yeah, there was talk that they were going to make a third, and they were going to use Jenny from Commando. Jenny Matrix from Commando. That was going to be
You don't need the gun.
A third one, but
I don't need the gun, John. I'll kill you, John.
Getting old,
John. You love some steam, Bennett.
But again, it made money. It was.
It's a Commando.
It was $3 million to make.
Sorry, what film is this now?
This is Teen Wolf 2. Teen Wolf 2.
So I just lost it. Teen Wolf 2.
We've gone from Commando.
It cost $3 million to make Teen Wolf 2.
$3 million to make Teen Wolf 2.
Wow.
It done
$3 million.
2.7 on its opening weekend in the US, and it grossed 7.8. So it made money, but
$3 million.
Story was weak, man.
Yeah, it was
terrible.
It was really bad. It was really bad. You know, remember, this is top 10 corny movies of the 80s. We're not even making these movies up. These actually came out.
Probably won't find them on the internet. They were that bad, though.
They were that bad.
They're lost now. They're lost in the archives.
There was another one come out about 85, 86, I think. The film was terrible, but we went to see it in the cinema. It was Soul Man. Do you remember the film Soul Man?
Soul Man came out in 86, but I got a feeling...
Was it 86 it came out?
In the US, but I got a feeling it didn't come out over here until 2 years later for some reason.
Okay, you may be right.
I think it was around 87, 88.
Maybe 88 then.
I only remember it obviously because of the story and what... It was just odd at the time, but I remember it for another two actor and actress as well. It had
Radon.
Commando again. Commando. This guy's eating too much red meat.
Yeah.
And James L. Jones as well, wasn't it?
Yes, my son Keith.
This is on the key. So I remember it for them too as well.
Exactly. Soul Man. So, do you remember the story of Soul Man?
Yeah, I remember it. Do you remember it?
No, I don't even know if I've seen it.
Soul Man was terrible.
I can't remember the name of the character.
It was about a white guy who needed to go to college or something.
Harvard. He needed to get into Harvard. He was quite a well-off as well, wasn't it? Went like a poor guy, quite a well-off white guy trying to get into Harvard, and he poses as a young black man to get a full scholarship to get in.
I think I see. Yeah, I feel.
I think it was the first time in our generation we saw a white man trying to look. Apart from maybe some stand-up, it's the first time we saw it on a movie.
Mammy.
Yeah, and it was odd.
It was so bad. But in them days, it was very. You wouldn't see a lot of black people starring in films anyway.
Yeah.
So they thought, let's
sort of made it even worse.
Let's get a white guy to star as a black guy in a film. And it was just like...
And it was C. Thomas Howell, wasn't it? The guy, I don't know what his name is, but it's C. Thomas Howell.
Oh, the film was so bad. Thinking back on it now, it's like... And the film was called Soul Man.
Soul Man.
And I remember a bit in it. There's a bit in it when they're outside. He's with Ray Dong Chong, whatever her name is, a girl.
He marries her after this film.
In the film?
No, in real life.
He married her in real life?
Yeah, he married her after the film. Later to get divorced, like most of them Hollywood. They met on that film and married just shortly after making it. Yeah, which I didn't know. I didn't know that.
But yeah, do you remember the scene where they're in the snow outside and all snow falls in it? He goes, "Oh look, you're turning white," and that was like the pun because he. Yeah, it was, mate. Those are the level jokes that are in this film. Man, that's how weak this film was. Soul Man. You must remember this film, guys. If you don't, look at the poster again. See the trailer, and it will come back to you. And it was weak. It's probably a good thing you don't remember it anyway. But that's why it's in the top 10.
C. Thomas Howell as well. I don't know if do you remember the.
I don't remember him in anything else.
He's been in quite a few. Do you remember the classic Outsiders with all of the?
Yeah, he was. He was one
Pony
of the kids.
Boy. He was Pony Boy.
Yes.
The one with the blonde. He's the one who dyed his hair blonde in it or something. Pony Boy from the Outsiders. He's also starred in Hitcher, Red Dawn, E.T., and a bit more recently, The Amazing Spider-Man. Don't know what roles, but
he's one of the kids on the BMXs in E.T., isn't he?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's right. But the film was bad.
Ralph. What's the guy at the Karate Kid? Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
He turned down the role. It originally approached him. I think he sort of knew that this.
Yeah.
Yeah. This ain't great.
He's already tried to take Chinese art. He doesn't want to go and be black.
4 years after this film was released, Barack Obama was actually elected the first black president of Harvard Law School. So. And there's the only other thing I remember about this film as well is a bit in Lethal Weapon 2 where Murtaugh's looking through his boot in his car for something and he picks up a Soul Man video. I don't know why they've connected it with that, but he picks it up or you see him move it. I remember there was a Soul Man videotape in his boot.
Okay. Do you remember it, Stacks?
Yeah. Unfortunately.
And he used the soundtrack, I'm a Soul Man. Oh my, Soul Man in cinemas now. It was terrible.
It was terrible, wasn't it? It was terrible.
So what you got, man?
You don't see that. It's never been. I've never seen it back since them days.
Because they're trying to keep it in the vaults.
Yeah, it shows you how bad that one was.
It's keeping it in the vaults, man.
Next one for me then. I'm gonna say Breakdance 2 for corniness. There weren't many like we talked about some of these films before. I think on another podcast. There wasn't many hip-hoppy sort of breakdancing films, so you liked them, but just the. It was so bad.
But do you remember the hype? Like, you remember watching Breakdance 1 to the end, and it goes, "This story's through, but wait for part 2."
Wait for part 2.
And he was like, "Oh my god, already! You haven't finished watching the first one. They're already telling you."
The reason why is because they were both shot together. They were shot literally one after another, and then I think they were released early '84 and late '84 or something like that. They were close getting released as well. I think 7 months apart they were. At least 7 months apart, yeah.
So they already prepared that stuff.
They're almost like the hip hop, the breakdance version of Kill Bill.
Yeah, but it just turned so like because people always say and it's true like Beat Street was more of a hip hop film, but it was more raw. It wasn't imaginary. You didn't have magic broomsticks and that. Where breakdance they fantasize on the whole hip hop
walking
culture.
on the wall, isn't it? He's walking on the wall, dancing on the ceiling.
It was all out there, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. In part 2, it got a bit silly, because then they were dancing on the wall and doing madness and wearing all bright colours and having battles like it was a Michael Jackson video. It started to didn't look street. It looked like Michael Jackson.
And the reason they've done that, they filmed on the same set, wherever it is in Hollywood. They filmed on the same set next to Nightmare on Elm Street. And there's a scene in Nightmare on Elm Street where the room revolves, and they built the set for that. And rather than sort of waste it and how can we make use of this, they let the breakdance crew take over with this revolving room, and that's how they got that bit with him walking up the wall onto the ceiling. And apparently in that scene in breakdance, if you look, Freddie's glove is on the wall somewhere, but I never noticed that at the time.
To get your kids.
Never noticed that at the time.
And the breakdance, with the Freddy crew go with the breakdance. Imagine they got Freddy doing windmill flyers. Picture Freddy doing windmill flyers.
Cutting everyone's ankles. But it was really just the Turbo and Ozone. It was only the main two characters that made you want to watch the second one, really, wasn't it? The attraction was to see Turbo and Ozone, really, wasn't it? But the good thing about Breakdance 2 was Turbo's girlfriend, man. Turbo's girlfriend. That Hispanic girl in it. With the curly hair.
That was probably one of my first 80s crushes, man.
Yeah, she was.
Can't remember her name, but she was in Breakdance 2 and she was, oh, mate.
There's a lot of pause in the video.
Let me check her out, man.
Yeah, rewind.
Yeah.
Did you know there was a third instalment called Rapping? The only person who was in all three was Ice-T. I never heard of this third version, man. They replaced Turbo and Ozone, but Ice-T's still in it. It's just called Rapping.
I've heard of Rapping.
I just thought that was another version of Breaking.
I just thought it was another
name.
But Breaking was called Breaking in the US and Breakdance for us.
Yeah.
But I do remember going to the video shop and seeing a film called Rapping and seeing Ice-T.
Maybe we saw it then.
But I don't know if we watched it. Yeah,
to see if we've seen that.
But we didn't relate it
does ring a bell.
to Breakdance. We just thought it's just another.
And apparently it was the third instalment of Breakdance, which I didn't really know that.
But he was in all them. He was the MC in it. Now Turbo's gonna rock the night. He was the MC, man. And Van Damme in Breakdance 1.
He was in one. Yeah, something like tight leotard, ballet looking thing.
There's some Van Damme moves.
And I think we spoke about before, like great sequels. But apparently now in the business, the common name, if you've got a sequel that's properly bombed out and it's done rubbish, it's nicknamed the Electric Boogaloo. Apparently. It's, that's how, if your sequel's that bad, you've done the Electric Boogaloo.
But that was, I'm saying, with the hype of breakdance and all the hip hop,
save how you've
films that would get. Yeah, it was just corny. It was, but you still watched it because there wasn't much like that around. But it just turned corny. What's next, man? What's next? We could get this corny breakdance zone, man. I love hip hop and breakdance, but
how about some corny action?
Corny action. Corny action.
How about Cobra with Stallone?
Cobra. Now, Cobra, right? Cobra should have been good.
Should have been good.
Right? But I heard that the reason why Cobra was made because Sylvester Stallone was supposed to be Beverly Hills Cop. Yeah. They didn't have time to do it, so they replaced Stallone with Eddie Murphy, and the rest is history of Beverly Hills Cop. But Stallone still wanted to go on that vibe of that cop, on a mission type thing, and so he made Cobra. Now, this come out at the same time as Commando. I remember Cobra and Commando coming out at the same time.
86. I'm not sure on Commando, but Cobra was 86.
And there was and I remember both seeing them in the video shop, and like the thing about Cobra, the cover looked so cool.
The cover was good. Yeah.
The match in his mouth, the red background, the shades, looked so cool. But the film was terrible.
Bad. And also as well, the director, it was from the same director as Rambo 2, and Rambo 2 was alright. So
Rambo 2 was just alright.
But it's thinking that Cobra's got to be okay then. Like, it should be alright.
Yeah, Cobra. Go on,
I don't really like Stallone films
anyway,
Stallone, so they could all go in the same basket for me. Do you know what I mean?
Even like the Rockies and the boxings, and you're not great. I heard as well that he'd done so much work and put so much time into Beverly Hills Cop that he just didn't want to waste all of this time and energy and script writing.
Makes sense.
Just thought, I'm just going to make my own cop film.
And ironically, Bridget Nelson's in Cobra and she was in Beverly Hills Cop too, wasn't she?
Yeah, she crosses over between a lot of them.
Yeah,
doesn't she?
But Cobra was really, it had all the elements to be good. You know, he had a cool
Was it
car.
the Night Stalker or someone was the back?
Yeah, he was like the Punisher.
Yeah.
But
Do you remember Cobra's name in it? Do you remember his first name?
no, what was it?
Marion. His name was Marion Cobretti.
That's
and they got
it.
Cobra from the Cobretti bit, but his first name was Marion. And they thought at the time all the big action stars were John, weren't they? John Rambo, John Matrix, John McClane, Johnny English. So yeah, they thought, you know, who could, we don't want to be a John, but John Wayne, his name was Marion, wasn't it, in real life? So that's why they thought, let's use Marion.
Okay.
And John Wayne obviously played lots of Johns as well in lots of his films.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, again, it was a £25 million budget. It done nearly 50 million worldwide. So.
But it was cack.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was like, you know, when you hear a tune, and you're waiting for the drop. Like,
Yeah, and it's
just don't happen.
Where's? It's coming any minute. This scene, it's gonna build. Nah, it was that type of. Have you ever seen it?
Yeah.
It's
Weak.
it's really weak, man. It's really weak. You know, what's next, man? Because these films are starting to depress me now, man. It's like, that's how corny they were. Like, I'm having these flashbacks of them, and I'm thinking, damn, how were they even made?
2 hours of your life you're not going to get back ever.
There's one here, but I don't know much about it. I was a massive fan, still is a massive fan, but Ewoks, Caravan of Courage.
Ewoks, the Caravan
It's one of them
of
spin-off.
Courage.
Was it a Lucas thing?
It was a Lucas thing. Now, Ewoks Caravan of Courage was the excitement. Like, the whole Star Wars camp must have got excited with the success of Return of the Jedi.
This come out after Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
but was it set before Return of the Jedi? I heard it was set.
I ain't got a clue when it was set. I just know.
I heard it was set between Empire.
I don't care.
When was it set, man? When was it set?
I don't care. I don't care when it was set.
I don't care when it was set.
Because I heard it was set between Empire and Return of the Jedi. And in this film, one of the kids in it teaches Wicket, who's in it, to speak. So if it was before Return of the Jedi, how come when Princess Leia meets the little thing in the forest, he don't know how to say nothing to her? He at least
Maybe he
know
forgot. Maybe they have short memories.
That's why I'm not sure when it was set, but I thought it was between the two. But I know it came out after Return of the Jedi.
So it's safe to say you didn't like that one, did you?
I didn't like that one. I don't
remember much about it.
I don't care for it because it was like they got excited and thought, you know, because they were popular in Return of the Jedi, let's make a story. But they brought a cartoon of the Ewoks. They got a bit-
Remember the cartoon?
That done better than these.
Yeah,
these
the
spin-offs.
cartoon done better, but it is so like that's one film that's properly under the carpet. Whenever people reference Star Wars or talk about,
No one mentions these
no
Ewoks.
one
I think there's a couple of
mentions-
Ewoks films as well.
no one,
2 or 3. I think.
I didn't know Caravan of Courage, and that's
there's
enough
another
for
one.
me to try and process.
Not
But
wanna know
yeah,
anymore.
I don't care if Endor blew up. I don't care anymore. It was just an unnecessary film to the Star Wars legacy, and they should treat The Last Jedi like that too. but it's just a waste of film. I don't know. Like Caravan, like, you know.
I think it was a waste of $3 million as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what it made, but I think it cost about $3 million.
It must have been more than $3 million. See, it's just a whole. Do you know what? We should
Waste of money.
We should even put it on the list because we just wasted time to even talking about it. It's so weak. That Star Wars related weakness, man. What else we got, man? You had all these, you know, sword and sandal films, and the British market wanted to get into the land of sorcery films.
Yeah, and
sandals. But we didn't have deserts. We just had woodlands and park areas. So we made our like Merlin. Excalibur was a good film. Oh, my voice is good. Oh, what's happened?
I found myself thinking today as well.
Excalibur was a good film. You know, remember Excalibur at 1980s film?
Lady in the
Vaguely.
Lake. Lady in the Lake.
Good film.
It's funny you're talking about a location. The film that we're going to mention, it was shot in Black Park in Slough in Ivor, near just outside Uxbridge.
It was.
It's all shot in them woods.
Corny proper 80s. Soundtrack was them corny funk and then flute.
Yeah.
Corny soundtracks.
Stonehenge music.
Yeah. But the film, I was amazed by the film watching it when I was a kid. But seeing it as an adult, looking at it again, it's the corniest film ever. Well, it's in our top 10. That's Hawk the Slayer.
Hawk the Slayer.
You've heard of Hawk the Slayer?
No,
Hawk the Slayer. You got to watch Hawk the
Slayer.
Slayer.
Oh my God.
Hawk
You
the
got to
Slayer.
see.
Never heard
Hawk
of
the
it.
Slayer. He looks like Han Solo's brother. You know, like Star Wars in a
They
galaxy
tried
far,
to
far
make
away.
it like a
This
Star
is like
Wars,
that brother
but
that
in the
lived in the
woods.
other far
Yeah,
away.
yeah.
He's like Han Solo with a sword.
With a sword. And then they had a dwarf and an elf, which was meant to be the R2 and the C-3PO character. They tried to rip off Star Wars, but film it in Slough in the woods.
Yeah.
Odd.
Yeah, in a
really
park
odd.
in Slough.
And it had. Do you remember Brian Breslaw from the Carry On films? You know, the big, tall guy from the Carry On
You know
films.
what
with
used
the
to hang
bald
around
head.
with Sid?
With
What?
Sid,
Yeah.
That's him. He played a giant in it. Do you remember?
Yeah.
But he wasn't really that. Well, he's big, but he wasn't like giant big.
Yeah, he was a giant.
The
And
giant
it had,
Gork.
who
And then
else did it
2
have?
years later, he played the Cyclops in Kroll.
He did.
He played that character as
did.
well, isn't it? That's mad from a Carry On film. He speaks the way he just did.
Are we going in now, Sid? Hey, he was giving me jokes. And it had was Jack Palance in Hawk the Slayer?
Yes.
I'm sure Jack
Palance, actually, you might be right.
He was like a Darth Vader kind of character.
I remember the
like
character.
His evil
it was,
brother or something.
It was Voltan, the character. And they tried to make it look like Darth Vader. The outfit was like plasticky looking, sort of black. I'm sure it resembled...
filmed this in a park in Slough. Got the man from Carry On.
They had a flying sword in it, which something had the power, like as if it was the Force. Like you could throw it.
But
like,
you can see the strings.
You
It's
can see the
straight
strings,
across the woods. You can see someone on their chopper bike in the distance.
going over some BMX jump.
Hey, the film was so.
It was really bad.
And you could feel the 70s, 80s of Slough in it.
Yeah.
You can see Slough in it. You know, them morning, them crisp
see Slough
November mornings. That's what
The
Hawk the
during the
Slayer
fog.
looks like. It looks like a crisp November morning in every scene.
Every
It
scene.
just
Yeah.
looks, and budget. You know, like.
It reminded me of Blake Seven.
Yeah,
Remember how
I was
that
about to say,
looked?
if you watch
Blake
Blake 7
in the
or
woods in the morning.
remember Play School or Dark Towers, and put all
Yeah.
their stuff
It had that-
together,
yeah.
Feel to it.
and you've got this
And a bit of Kroll.
with a funky English soundtrack.
I didn't realise either. It had some Robin and shit.
Oh my god!
It had a
So-
sequel. It had a sequel
It
as
had a
well.
sequel?
Yeah, yeah.
What was it called?
Hawk the Hunter. Hawk the
Same
Hunter
cast?
in 2009. I don't know.
2009.
2009. Yeah. And its tagline was "The Slayer returns, the hunt begins." Did anyone ever see this sequel?
Yeah.
Because I've never heard
The
of
hunt
it.
begins to try and find
The
it and
hunt
watch it.
begins now
That's the
to-
hunt because
to-
no one's heard of that.
We want to hunt the hawk, not Hawk the
I ain't
Hunter.
even heard of the original. No.
You need to check out the original.
And ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to our podcast, there's a pattern here. You must realise Stax didn't watch any telly in the 80s or any videos. He just heard people talking about this stuff at school, and he's just telling us what he heard in the playground. or what he looked at in Looking magazine. But he didn't watch any movies.
Looking magazine.
But maybe you
must have saw. Let's go for the next one.
Yeah, maybe you might have seen. Remember Beastmaster? No, he didn't.
God, no.
Chris, you can explain Beastmaster. Beastmaster again was like an American version of Hawk the
Hawk
Slayer,
the Slayer, 1982.
but he controlled beasts.
Sword and sorcery fantasy about a young man's search for revenge, armed with supernatural powers. Yeah, a sword and sorcery fantasy film from 1982.
Starring Mark Singer.
This is what I was going to say. The guy from V.
Guy from
You must
V.
remember the guy from
I
V.
remember the guy from V, but
He was the
I
main
remember
dude, Mark
He
He
Singer.
looked like a slim He-Man. He had blonde
did
hair.
it,
He
yeah.
tried to wear that waistcoat,
Like what
He-Man.
He-Man would wear, yeah.
that bondage gear He-Man
Bondage
wears.
gear.
Bondage
gear.
But he had an eagle on his arm all the time or something.
There's a funny story with the eagle. Apparently, like they used they tried to stick to real animals, didn't they, in the program? And there's a story that the eagle would never fly when they needed to do shots of it in the sky. It would never fly. So they used to hire a hot air balloon and drop it out of a trap door in this hot air balloon to make this eagle fly. So it'd just be falling to earth. Like they'd be catching shots of it, like swooping through the air.
Oh,
And I think his name was Dar. Was it Dar? I think his character was Dar or something. His name was, and he had a black tiger, but they didn't have the money or whatever, to find black tigers, so they just dyed up a normal stripy tiger.
why
So-
not just get a panther?
panther or something, yeah. So
What?
if you look in scenes like where they had cuts and the tiger had been given a drink, the paint had washed off around its mouth, or there'd be bits in
That's
it.
horrible.
Yeah, and you'll
Why
see
not just get a
stripes.
panther?
You'll see
Spraying at
stripes
the
coming
poor
through.
cat.
Instead, they wanted a black
That's
tiger.
why the film was corny.
Yeah,
But they had a couple of
they had to
sequels,
dye
didn't
it.
they?
They had some sequels of that, I think. Yeah, I think
I
they
don't know
did.
how those films managed to
Right. Never heard of it.
There was
Doesn't ring a bell at all.
another story that they were going to fight a bear. There was a younger character who played the main character when he was younger, and he had to fight this bear or something. and the handler let go of the bear, and the bear just started attacking the crew. Apparently, it attacked the handler, it attacked all the crew, and then when they finally managed to calm the bear down, they wanted Mark Singer to do the take with the bear, and he just refused. He said,
course.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Fuck this shit. I've seen a new script for a film called V. I'm
going to go off and do that.
Oh my God, serious?
Yeah, another one was an £8 million budget, made about 14 million worldwide. So
Corny as hell.
Corny as film, isn't it? Apart from V, you know, I ain't seen him in anything else.
No, but Beastmaster.
He had that same look though in V. That same stare,
squinting,
that squinty stare,
that rat squint. Like.
It was hard not to see V, like.
Damn. So they tried to bring out sequels. I think it went up to Beastmaster 3, but
I lost it after.
I'm saying that because not a lot of films get to 3 and are still good.
Yeah.
Like Alien 3, like Back to the Future 3, like Terminator 3. And back in our days, you know, as we were saying, there was a scarce amount of superhero films, so all the time it was Superman. And by the time it got to Superman 3, again, that failed to make an impact.
It started getting a bit weird again.
You know, it's like, you know, I was saying there wasn't much of a superhero thing going on in the 80s. So every Superman film, there's a big anticipation. Like Superman 2 was such a success. Kneel before Zod!
Yeah.
And all that was going on.
Big
so you got
hype,
excited.
and it lived up to it. It was good. We loved, you know, going to the cinema.
Loved that. Shreddies was getting ready to bring out the new transfers for the part 3. You heard Richard Pryor was going to be in it. You know, Superman 3. It should be good. And it was one of the worst superhero films made. It's just, you know,
it's the one where he faces off against himself, isn't it? It's the bad. The bad Superman. He has some bad kryptonite.
It
makes him turn
Richard
bad.
Pryor's character gives him some red kryptonite, and he starts being bad. But their idea of bad is him smashing windows with peanuts. That's him being bad. Him being bad is making a Leaning Tower pizza not lean.
Again. Yeah.
Him being bad is having sex with a fit bird on Statue of Liberty. I don't understand. Where's the bad part of anything he just done there? And grow a stubble.
Was that the girl off of 9 O'Clock News? Pamela Stevenson.
She was fit.
I'm sure that's the girl off of Not the 9 O'Clock News, Pamela Stevenson, the comedian. That was her, I think.
I'm not sure.
She was like a Marilyn Monroe sort of character,
played that woman. Remember, he took her to the top of the building and done his thing. And then when he wasn't bad anymore, she goes, "What about last night?" And he goes, "No, I'm not that man anymore." What?
Yeah.
What? You don't pull fit birds anymore?
As soon as you know there's no Lex Luthor as well, it's like, how can this be a Superman film? Like, there's no Lex Luthor. What?
It just didn't work. Like,
and I think another thing, the thing that made kryptonite bad in that, if I remember, it was mixed with tobacco and nicotine. I'm sure they were the 2 products that on Earth you could mix with kryptonite to make Superman bad. So you know what? I don't know what's going on with the tobacco, the amount of heavy tobacco advertising from Superman 2.
But the thing
is, now they're including nicotine and tobacco in the storyline. Like, I think there's heavy,
but the thing is,
funding from tobacco companies.
Lois Lane used to smoke cigarettes.
She smoked a lot through that.
I remember in Superman when he looked through her dress, goes, "Oh, you should be smoking."
You see, he looks into her lungs, doesn't he? Yeah, and I reckon there's secret funding going on between tobacco companies.
Yeah, because there's not advertising trucks and stuff.
Exactly. I think another thing that made this one so bad as well, the director got sacked after Superman, or between Superman 2 and 3. So I think it started writing this one, but then got sacked and it just started going a bit bad. I think Reeves tried to get more heavily involved in the script writing and the actual, you know, directing. And I think 3 is just...
I think half the money was spent on getting Richard Pryor. I heard he was the highest paid black actor at the time. And he's the most paid for that film. Yeah,
I'll tell you, he did bring an extra comedy element. Superman already had a bit of comedy, but he did add to it. There was some funny bits in it that I liked.
I don't know about funny, but there were bits of him that okay. He's wearing night.
But I heard that Reeves walked out as well after they got rid of the director. Reeves walked out, and then they tried to approach John Travolta, Kurt Russell, and Jeff Bridges to replace Superman, which they all turned down, I think, and then eventually they begged Reeves, or Reeves got back into
Richard Pryor said, "I'll do it." I said, "No." But no. But it was. I can't, there's nothing memorable. No, apart from when he fights Clark Kent in the scrapyard.
It's all weird.
That's all what's going on.
Yeah, Superman. I remember now as well that Lois Lane's not in it much.
She's not in it.
She's not in it much.
She's in that beginning, I think.
Nah, she's only in it from the beginning. The reason why that is she didn't like the sacking of this director, and she complained to the new lot. They cut all of her lines. She's in it for 11 minutes, I think.
Yes.
Right. She's in it for... so they had to replace the female role, which they brought in...
The girl, when he goes back to Smallville.
Yeah, Smallville girl, yeah. Can't think of her name in it now.
And her son was so irritating in it. Oh my God. You're not bad, Superman.
Yes, I remember
Superman, you're not bad.
Yeah, he was...
he should have... Anyway.
Yeah.
He should have dashed him. He should have thrown this guy.
I think Richard Pryor says in his book...
Left him in another state. There you go. You're in the Bronx now.
Richard Pryor admits in his autobiography that the only reason he took it was £5 million paycheck. That was it.
Yeah, that was just big money.
Why not?
Superman 3 was terrible, and that leads us straight into Superman 4.
Another clanger.
Oh my God!
That's the nuclear dude one.
Didn't you make the mistake the first time? Now you want Pat Sharp to be in the next one.
You brought Lex Luthor back.
Yeah.
One thing, but now you got Pat Sharp in it.
Got Pat Sharp in it. The guy looked like he looked like he's from an 80s soft rock band to fight Superman.
That was odd.
I just didn't get the whole. The film was just so bad. Like again, that must have been a big payday for Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
You know, that's why he said, "I'm only coming back if you're paying me more than anyone else in this." Because it was so bad, man. And did you notice the guy who played Lex Luthor's nephew is the guy that's in? You know, who watched 2.5 Men?
Yeah.
You know the one that's still in it?
Yeah.
The brother. That's him when he was young.
That is him when he's young. Yeah.
Looks the same.
That was on a really low budget.
The budget was bad, and that was because of they juggled it with Master of the Universe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The same company. Canon.
Yeah.
And weren't they involved in breakdance movies?
When this was being shot and that, they had 30 movies in production at that one time, which I think it's just too much for one production company to handle.
They had those like Delta Force and Mission in Action as well.
They gave Superman 4 no extra consideration to any of them others than what they did. There's a bit in it, I think, if I remember, where he's walking down the middle of the road in the rain towards what's meant to be the UN. It's meant to be 42nd Street in New York, walking down to the UN. That's shot in Milton Keynes. That was the budget, you know.
Yeah, a lot of it was shot in the UK.
If they hadn't have sacked the original director, he would have flown everyone to New York, shut New York down for the morning to film that. Yeah. All they did, they had 100 extras in Milton Keynes, and some pigeon fanciers turned up with their pigeons to make it a few pigeons fly about. Yeah. And that was the budget they had. They were working with.
Tight. That company was tight, man. And their films flopped. That's what you get when you don't spend the money, you know. That's what you get, you know. And that's why you're in the corny top 10 movies of the 80s.
Yeah. I think it did rain in every scene because it was shot in the UK.
Yeah,
every scene was rain.
It was horrible. It was
bad.
Like in the 80s, there's so many sequels that we can mention, but there's too many to mention. So, top of our heads, any other corny sequels? I know we're at our 10. We finished our 10. But any other films that have gone past 3, gone past 2 that have been corny that you can think of? So Chris on the spot, and Stax is like, you remember I didn't
Goonies
watch,
2.
There wasn't a Goonies 2.
Oh, okay. I was just I don't know. I can only imagine that would be quite corny if they done one. But I like the first one.
It would be really corny, man. They found the boat.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's where we should end the show. Because the guy just said Goonies 2. Sorry, I apologise. I really did tell you he didn't literally watch a video. Me and Chris are going to show him what a VCR looks like after the show. Thank you for listening. I'm Mr. Lucas.
Oh, I'm Chris.
I'm Stax.
All right, so next time he should know what a VCR is, guys. Because we're going to come back with part 2 of Corny Movies.
We've got more films.
But you know, Stax is so out of touch. We're going to have to take him back in the future.
Quick education lesson.
Quick education about VCRs.
See you in a couple of weeks for the next part.
Peace.
Those were the days I remember.